Good evening. I'm Markee Dragon, also known as Marcus Eikenberry in real life, and welcome to the Markee Dragon Show. So, let's talk about Guild Wars 2 again, because it's coming into. I know this has been a few days ago that Guild Wars actually reported it, like a week ago, that that they had already had well over 11,000 accounts hacked that they knew of. And those were just tickets put in by players saying that they had been hacked. Now, players are reporting that it's taking them an extremely long time to get their accounts back, and I think some of it's been exaggeration, but I can say that just from reading the status updates at the Guild Wars wiki, they are struggling to keep up. Now, what's really interesting is that it's the same thing that we keep talking about. So eventually, everybody will get it. But you cannot use the same login and password at multiple games. You just can't do that. And so what's happening is, again, that, well, a popular Guild Wars 2 fan site got hacked. And they got all of the logins and passwords. Now, I don't know which one. This is just what they're reporting, that one of them got hacked. And so they were able to gain many of the logins and passwords from those forums and then attempt to use them in the game. And then they were successful on some of those. Now, why would they be hacking? Well, they're hacking because there are items of value in the game. So the secondary market apparently is doing quite well because they are, the people who are selling in these markets, not all of them, but some of them, who are doing these hackings to get the stuff from the game, they would not be working this hard if it was not profitable for them. So your account is a target. Now, I've seen a lot of calls to action from players saying, please get us, like, the secure key fob or the Blizzard authenticator type thing. And now we know that even those aren't 100% secure if the server that maintains the data on the other end gets hacked. But it is another item that, another step in protecting game accounts, and I firmly believe that we should have that for all game accounts. Any title that could possibly be hacked, or should I say, not that could possibly be hacked, because anything can possibly be hacked, but anything that would be a target for the secondary market. And now, I'm not saying that everybody that's in the secondary market is evil, but everybody in the secondary market for Guild Wars, they are violating the terms of service. And, there is a marketplace within Guild Wars, and maybe that's why it sprung up so big in the secondary market, because the official marketplace was down so much. And now I've heard that it's up, but I haven't logged in to try it yet. So, anyway, with all these accounts being hacked, it's really the same thing over and over again. At the very least, have a strong password and have it be unique on everything. Now, I went through some data from a video game fan site that was recently hacked. And this video game fan site, they did have some sensitive data there, so they knew that they needed to have higher security. And they enforced rules of having what are called complex passwords. And those complex passwords are letters, numbers, maybe even symbols, and both upper and lowercase, and at least 8 characters. Now, so I was just perusing these passwords to see what kind of passwords people actually use. And let me give you some examples of how dumb people can be. And if you resemble this remark, well, you can get a lot smarter by changing your password. So, the first one is the word password. Oh my God, it's 8 characters. And just change the, just make it a capital P, and then turn the O into a 0. and you've got a complex password. Well, don't you think that the hackers are trying that? Now, another thing that I saw was people's email addresses that, like, they have like firstname.lastname@gmail.com or whatever, something like that, and their password was their first name followed by a 4-digit number, and it was capitalized correctly, which, you know, is probably easier to remember that the capital is at the first letter, and then the number was like 1978, 1992, you know, and 1980. You know, come on, guys. I know that's your birthdays, the year you were born. And so, you know, if the hackers have, now listen to this, if the hackers have your Gmail address, let's just say it's Gmail, doesn't matter which one it is, but, and you have it first name, last name at whatever.com, and they see that first name there, and then they just say, okay, well, this person is probably at least 10 years old, and so we're going to try a password of the first name with it being capitalized with the 4-digit year number, and we're going to start at, let's see, what year are we in right now? We are in 2012, we're going to start in 2002, and we're going to work our way down. So 2001, and then 2000, and then 1999, and just keep on going down until they get to, you know, maybe, what's the outer edge? Probably 1960 or so. You know, and that's kind of the main scope of game players. You know, so if you resemble this remark, you know, if you resemble this at all with your passwords, you really need to come up with something more unique. Now, I'm going to share a little bit about how I make my passwords. Now, some of them are extremely complex, and they are over 20 characters. Now, and they use letters, numbers, symbols. If it's a Windows system, it may have a space, and they're typically not passwords that even I can remember in my head. And so, you know, for those I use a tool to help me with those. And so, but that only works for like websites and everything. Now, for games, you know, you can't, there's no tools that I know of that will just input your password for you. There are some games that will allow you to save your password in it with a big warning saying, insecure. So, you know, that is, you know, buyer beware. But, so, you need to use something that is a fictitious word. And, okay, so let's what is a word that is not in the dictionary that you can think of? And so think of this word, and let's relate it to movies. And so, okay, so I'm thinking movie. Okay, so I'm trying to think of a movie word, something that I can remember. This is not one of my passwords, by the way, so, but if I were to do it this way, this is how I would come up with it. So I'm thinking of a movie that I like that I think is probably not a real word. And so I like Battlestar Galactica. And so Battlestar might be a word, it might not be. Might not be. Might not be a word that's in the dictionary. See, that's what you want to avoid. You want to avoid words that are in the dictionary. And so, or Galactica, you know, that may not be a word either. Or you could use something like, think of, you know, sci-fi movies and the names of the planets, or, you know, character names of people who are, you know, the main characters in these movies that are not a name that is, you know, something that you find in the general, you know, naming guides or whatever. So you don't want it to be in some index that they can take and apply it against your stuff. So, okay, so let's say it's Galactica. Okay, now I got to come up with a number. And I need to come up with a number and I either need to start it with that number or I need to end it with that number, and I need to have a capital in there as well. And so it's probably a little less likely that the A at the end of Galactica would be capitalized if somebody was trying that, because, believe it or not, capital letters are considered different in computer language than lowercase letters. And so that's part of why you use a capital. Or all capitals and just one lowercase. So just make the B, or the G in Galactica lowercase, and then the rest of it uppercase. And so now we need to come up with a number. You need to come up with a number that you can remember, but one that if I go searching for you, and so like something that I would avoid would be to use part of my cell phone number, or part of my social security number, or part of my house address number, or my license number. I probably want to avoid those. But what is another number that, you know, I can think of, that I can associate, that I can remember easily? Okay, so here we go. This is not an advertisement for Dr. Pepper, but I was just looking for a number here at my desk. And right on there, I don't know if you can see it or not because it might be too bright on this camera, but 12 ounces, number 12. How about that? So we've just, well, now while I got this in my hand here. So my password is going to look something like Galactica with a capital A and the number 12. Or 12 and then Galactica with the number A, or something like that. So now it's better to have things that are longer. So if you wanted to do Battlestar Galactica, that would get you many more characters. What is it going to get you, you know, when you add a couple of numbers to it? Is it going to get you up to like 15 or so? I mean, I don't know how many letters are in there, but that's, you know, something to something to add complexity to it. Okay, so only use that password with, the cats are running by behind me. Only use that password with that one game. No others. So, and it needs to be that way. And it's because even if, okay, so you remember when I talked about how World of Warcraft, how my account got compromised and they got my login and password? Well, so that password now is totally dead to me. I can't use that again in any other game. You want to bet that they're not going to Guild Wars with that same login and password and trying it? I bet you that they are. Bet you that they did. You know, and so a lot of these things that they're trying is things that they've already hacked in the past and everything. So it doesn't mean that it's brand new hackings to get this information. So they could be using old lists, and they know that if you're in one game, that you're in another. And it's really targeted whenever it's a fan site. In fact, you fan sites out there, I need to tell you that you need to step up your game. And all of you who are going to fan sites, it needs to be a unique login and password there as well. And so, you know, the fan sites need to step up your game. After the Markee Dragon forums got hacked one time, and well, actually they got hacked like 3 times, and that was over a period of about 10 years. And one time they got our database, one time they got our logins and passwords. And here's what we did. Is we didn't realize back then that actually that those might be used for other websites and stuff. So we didn't warn anybody about that. We did email every single person telling them that we were about to reset their passwords because they were compromised. And, you know, we owned up to that right away. But what we did after that is we did an encryption layer in communication between the forums and the database. And so the passwords were MD5 encrypted. But then, not only on top of that, we double encrypted them MD5 to really increase the strength. Now that added more load and everything to the server, but we were very serious that if anyone got that database, we did not want them to get the passwords. And so we double encrypted them, and we never had another issue like that. Now we also installed intrusion detection and other kinds of things like that to keep people out. And so, you know, we did a lot more stuff to it, and yes, that all costs a lot. So if your fan site is getting popular, and you need to come up with the money to do that. Now, if you're let me just veer off just a little bit here, speaking of fan sites, just a little bit more. Most of you don't make any money. And you don't make any money because, like, banner advertising really doesn't do it. But if like you're a World of Tanks site or something like that, we sell World of Tanks, and we will pay you a commission on every sale you refer. And we can show you how to do that to where you can make enough money to support the development of more features for your site, plus greater security. And sorry, that's my Murloc going off. It does that every time there's a National Weather Service alert, and when the hurricane was here, oh my God, he wouldn't stop croaking or whatever that is. So, okay, back to the subject here. So Arenanet also said that they put in a public apology to all the people who got notices of their account password being reset, because they had users that were going in and changing their changing their email addresses thousands of times in their account in an attempt to try and gain access. And so apparently thousands of people who don't even play the game got emails from them saying that their password had been reset. So as the criminals get more sophisticated, all of the games are going to have to step everything up, and so including us, we have to step everything up as well. So that is, it's our responsibility, it's your responsibility to make sure that you don't get hacked. Just like it's my responsibility to make sure I don't get hacked. And I take it on as, if I get hacked, it's my own fault. It's not the fault of anyone else. So, well, let me think about that Blizzard one. It wasn't me who got hacked, then they were able to hack me. But I was able to, minimize that issue because the login and password was unique there. So that was, made it okay for me. So, and they took care of my stuff. So props to Blizzard. Okay, so anyway, I think that is it for this. Now check this out. Okay, so let me show you some other videos here. Right up above, remember I talked about storms coming through and the hurricane? That is the remnants of Hurricane Isaac as it came through a couple of days after the hurricane. It came back down to Mississippi, and it was the most amazing lightning storm and the scariest lightning storm I've ever been in. Click right up there to see that. Ooh, look at that flash. Yeah, I kid you not. You watch me jump out of my skin at least 4 times in that video, and there's at least 200 lightning flashes that you see in that video. So, over here, that is, if you're playing Guild Wars, and you haven't already been doing this, to where you're trading gems for, or you're trading currency in the game for gems, I suggest you check that out, because the gems are worth, you have to buy them for cash typically, but other players are buying them for cash that want to get the currency in the game, whether it's silver or gold or whatever. They're willing to trade it with you, and they've set up a way to do that. It's great. So, including Matthew there shows you about getting the Digital Deluxe upgrade version for free. Over here, World of Tanks, baby. Ha! Okay, look forward to lots more World of Tanks from me. Right there, World of Tanks. I love World of Tanks. And that goes to one of my gameplay videos. And so check it out if you're into World of Tanks, or if you want to hear me talk for 30 minutes, an hour on end while I kill stuff. May as well. Okay, so thank you everybody, and take care.